How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 12th of June 2022. Hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic weekend. Before I get into the analysis, please remember to smash that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so for all of your no BS cryptocurrency news and analysis. So with all of that said, as expected, we're going to start with Ethereum today. Pretty obvious it was going to go down to around about sort of 1400. I think, and here's the interesting thing. For those of you that have been tracking the markets with me, with these daily updates, you'll notice that we have seen a little bit of relative strength on some of these currencies, then a little bit of relative weakness, then they're switching to relative strength again. And this is all based on Bitcoin's movement. Okay, so we take Bitcoin's movement and we're tracking what's happening between all of these currencies paired with Bitcoin, right? So, for example, Binance was showing a little bit of relative strength, which it was for about, sort of 6 to 8 weeks. And then slowly, it started to kind of go the opposite way, show, relative weakness. While all of this was happening, Ethereum really started to show signs of weakness. If you remember chart number 2, I made a reference to all of these lows down here, which have since been traded through, obviously. And we can see the acceleration. Now, this was pretty obvious that it was going to happen on Ethereum, especially with some of the problems that Ethereum's having right now. Potential mergers, this, that, the other. The problems that they're having running up to the merge. There's no real date. Then there is. Then there's no real date. Then there is. A lot of inconsistencies. And then obviously, the usual sort of fear in the market in the sense of this Loomis bill, that's going to be coming into effect at some point in the next year or so. So all of this combined is producing this so-called sentiment of fear, nobody wants to engage and so on. But the reality is, the underlying weakness of, for example, Ethereum has nothing to do with a regulatory bill, has nothing to do with what's going on in the marketplace per se. The underlying weakness on Ethereum is because Ethereum is getting it wrong, effectively. It's as simple as it gets. And this is very similar across the board. If you look at a lot of these currency pairs and actually look at the underlying technology or the network that they're on, they're just not producing results. And this is a problem because ultimately, if the native chain is weak, okay, then it's going to produce weakness in all the projects that are on that native chain. Binance, for example. But let's say Binance is not producing results. Binance is pretty poor. Binance is having problems, this and that and the other. Then that weakness is going to filter out into everything because Binance itself is weak, but has nothing to do with what's going on in the marketplace. We often find, and this is very true for all financial markets, that any situation that happens within that market is always blamed on the news. It's always blamed on something that's happening in the world. But that's not always the case. You also have to look at the underlying strength or weakness of the network or the financial instrument that you're looking at to make sure that they're doing, that they're not doing it wrong, that they're doing and producing, good results. So with all of that said, again, we know Ethereum was showing relative weakness. You can see that this, it started to accelerate to the downside, very close to this liquidity pool now. We've already tapped into this liquidity once. So if it does go, my guess would be it's probably going to end up around about, 1400 flat. All right, probably just go straight through this liquidity pool. If that happens, I would expect some sort of, relief from that. The challenge that we face is if you look at this entire move to the downside on Ethereum, there's been 2 points of relief, one here, okay, and one here. So these 2 points of relief effectively reset price. As it's going down, it starts to accelerate and then it slows down, stops, starts to accelerate, and you're like, okay, yep, this is the one. It's really going to go for liquidity, and it stops just shy of these lows, just taps it just ever so slightly. And then again, consolidation starts to, produce some sort of relief, and then bang, it starts to accelerate again. And then we get, this liquidity pool down here, which is probably going to be traded to. Okay, so going forward into the remainder of this week, one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to get acceleration into capitulation, and then we'll get some relief, or we will start to get that same thing again as all of these pairs, start to run into their respective liquidity pools and start to slow down. Now, Binance obviously has the ability to go all the way down, take out all of these lows and go as low as 185. Yeah, this is something that we have to be mindful of and have to be aware of. It is a possibility that could happen on Binance. So just be mindful of that going into this coming week. I'll be tracking all of this stuff anyway, so I'll keep you guys abreast. Obviously with Bitcoin, we are slowly starting to grind towards this 20,000. And to be fair, I mean, if we go down to the 4-hour chart, have we seen any real confirmation that Bitcoin wants to go higher? No, we've seen a little bit of messiness. started to coil a little bit. I did put out some tweets. I was, making references to my, in my Discord, saying just be careful, don't engage this weekend, just leave everything be. Pretty obvious it was going to happen, to be honest. I threw some buzzwords in there like volatility and so on, just to get people thinking a bit. I have had a few DMs and messages saying thank you, so you're very, very welcome. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to use the experience that I have, just like I used the experience of other people when I was going through the learning curve, when I was, trading stocks, US equities, and then Forex. I've been in the same boat as a lot of these people who are new to, cryptocurrency, where I was trying to get the information that I needed. I really wanted help. And there were people out there, that were going out of their way to help me, just as I'm going out of my way to help you guys. So, I hope everybody just kind of left the market this weekend. Yeah, it's Sunday at the minute. We've still got the remainder of Sunday. But again, just be cautious, be careful. Don't engage in the markets at the moment. Let them settle, and I'll just leave you with this. Wouldn't it be better to start thinking about picking up or engaging in the market in terms of buy side, down here at 20,000, when we know we're probably likely to start really, really going back up at that point, instead of trying to engage right in the middle of all of this mess, and getting chewed up with this back and forth. So with all of that said, guys, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic weekend wherever you are in the world, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next update. All the best. Take care. Ciao for now.